What's up everyone, Bando here with another video of mine, and today is part 2 of the FT Explorer build video series. Today we are going to actually get into the build process of building the real whole Explorer. Step 1. The first thing you need to build is the FT Explorer core. Not this one. This one, I mean. You're gonna need to build this one. So includes the tail boom and this core part in here as well. And you're going to need to mount the KK2 board. The exact dimensions is, you're gonna need to create this little thing. What do you call it? A little deck. You can create this little deck, Velcro double-sided of this on top of this, but it's about 3 inches long, and however wide this area is inside the core. So you're gonna need that, and you're going to need to insert it 1.5 inches inside the core and 1 1/8 down from this top shelf area. And the top part will be mounting your little KK2, and then the bottom side will be mounting your receiver below. And however you like to run your receiver, I just like to have one sticking horizontal to the horizon and vertical to the horizon, like so. And that's just gonna give you a better signal, I believe. And then you want to mount your Power Pack C onto this power right here, and have your servos, your elevator and rudder. And of course you want to build this guy, which is, I'm not going to show you directly because it's a bit challenging and it takes a while to make, but it's also in the manual, link in the description below. But what I will add is, you should measure the length. I actually give it extra length on the cable that's connecting to your battery. That way you can just move the battery on however you want. And I'm also going to connect 2 JST connectors. The reason for that is because, as you can see, I also have extended the cable because I wanted to connect one for FPV and one to the KK2, which will give you battery voltage. And that way it can connect to the buzzer over here and give you like low voltage warnings and that kind of thing. So you're gonna want to build that. And yeah, I really love this Explorer design. I'll show you guys something really cool. What you can do is create an FPV one. So this is just an FPV camera antenna and transmitter, and you can just switch out these noses. So, and yeah, you can have your FPV through just one nose, and you can just switch it out whenever you want. Alrighty, so now, as soon as you get your core done, then you can finally move on to the next step, which is to build the wing with the power pods on. So you're going to need these little guys, and you're going to need your Power Pack D, including your ESCs and motors, and yeah, a lot of motors, all the motors. Oh yeah, to make the power pods, you're going to need to create these. All you have to do is print them at 100% scale. What I like to do on my plans is connect it to this cardstock paper or poster board, which you can buy on the Dollar Tree store. Get ready for a little montage of me building the pods and the wings and the spars and all of them things. In 3, 2, 1. Alrighty, so I finished cutting out my wing, and as you noticed, I did not actually, I didn't cut through the servo holes right here and here, and the servo, where the servo horn slot goes. And the reason to that is because we're actually going to be positioning that differently, because it's going, if we do cut those holes out and mount the servos there, we won't have space for the motor pods. So speaking of motor pods, before we go ahead and make the new markings, we're going to create the new motor pods. And another thing you might have noticed is that I actually saved some spare foam when I was cutting my stuff, just because these spare foam is really useful for when you have extra glue and can smear that off. So make sure you keep your spare foam there and handy. Now, what's next is the motor pod. So what you're going to need are these plans, and you can download these plans, link in the description below. The next step is to get a piece of foam. All right, here's this full sheet of foam, and what we're going to be doing is creating two strips. It's going to be this length, and it's going to be 7 7/8 wide. So I'm going to measure 7 7/8 from this edge right here. We're just gonna do it like so. Just line the ruler up, and then take your marker and find 7 7/8 and measure on the other side of the foam board. And then you want to take a meter stick and then take those two markings, and then once you find that, then you just draw your line, making sure the ruler stick stays. You don't want this to pivot, or else everything's gonna get all screwed up. So once you have that 7 7/8, it's always good to double check, because when I first built it, I actually wasted a ton of foam because I did not measure it properly. I was off by like a whole 1/4 or something. No, but another good thing is just you can take these plans, and that will be actually a way easier way of measuring 7 7/8, FYI, because this is what you're gonna need the power pod for. So just actually, yeah, don't even bother measuring it, to be honest, because it's just so much of a hassle. Not much, not really, but I think using the template itself is just a lot easier, because it's hard to go wrong with the template. All right, once you're done with that, then you can go ahead and take your ruler and your knife and cut it off. And it's always good that you have a nice sharp blade. All right, so now we have this here. We can actually start putting the plans on and seeing how everything will mount properly. Mark 2 vertical lines, 1 inch and 22.5 inches from one edge. All right, once you have that, then you can go ahead and get your ruler, and don't cut this line, you just want to mark it. And then you want to do the same but 22.5 inches. Boom. All right, so now what we can do is line it up here, line it on the lines, and then on this side you can see this line right here? There you go. This line, you just want to line that up with the line that you've drawn, just like so. Then you can take your pencil and just, because we get that nice template, it's a lot easier to drag your pencil around and just trace that little template around, and then mark that around. And then it's really useful to use one of these thumbtacks. Are this called thumbtacks? The thing you poke the board with, cork board, whatever. And then you just poke the lines, and you only need to do the top lines. Usually you have to go the bottom lines, but this one is fine because we're gonna be poking it on the other side, which I will show you guys. So match it up and then trace it, just stab it. Boom. All right, so now once you have that, and that's what you're going to want to align the meter stick with, and then you just want to draw the line, and boom, you can already see how nice it is. You already have that nice line that's running across the whole whatever thing, and then you want to repeat the process on all the other lines. We're done making the line, so congratulations. Next step would be to cut everything out now. So just follow this line that we outlined. All right, now what you want to do is take the score lines that you're already, which are these horizontal lines right here, and you're just gonna want to score cut these. Score cut means you don't cut all the way through, but you cut halfway through, if that makes any sense. Boom. All right, so now that we got all the pieces already, everything all scored up, you can go ahead and start to break everything off. So you just to hold it against the, there you go. This part you could just peel off so it only exposes the paper. This part you just take off like so. Now depending on how well or how deep you cut your score lines will change how hard it is to take this foam off. And there you go. There you have it. As soon as you get all these off, you can go ahead and throw these away. But now, just heat up your hot glue gun, and we're going to begin gluing the power pod together. Alrighty, so it's a new day because school started, so I finally got some time to finish up this portion of the build. So yeah, we are going to be finishing up this the power pod section of the VTOL. The first step would be to make an A-fold right here. So this is an A-fold. That means the side plate right here is above the bottom plate. So you're gonna want to push it down like so, and make sure you have your 90 degrees in handy. And you want to be pushing it down just like that. And where you want to focus the glue is right at this corner along here. So let me show you guys how to do that. So focus the bead down in this corner. Make sure you have plenty of glue in your glue stick, in your glue gun. Once that's done, and again, push it down like so. Use your 90 degrees to make sure everything is nice and 90, because you don't want to screw this step up, because this is what's going to be connecting your motors to your VTOL wing. Now the next fold, we're gonna do the exact same step and push it down like so. So again, you want to focus the bead of glue down in this corner right there, because you're gonna be pushing it like that. So again, put the glue down in the corner. Make sure you have enough glue. Add glue, a little glue if you don't have enough. And then push it down. Make sure you double check with your 90-degree triangle, making sure everything is nice and straight and true. Next, you want to make a B-fold, which means we're going to be pushing this side plate to the side of it. So this is how it looks so far. You have your A-fold here, and now a B-fold. So we're going to be pushing the side plate down like so. So it should look like that right here. And oops, don't screw that up. Make sure it's on the side like so. You want to focus a bead of glue down in this crack area over here. So go ahead and put your bead of glue down. Nice, good bead of glue. And push it down, just like so. Nice little B-fold. Alright, done. Once you have that, you just want to make a B-fold on this side as well. So, should look like that. Something like that. You just want to put bead of glue down in this corner right here, and a nice squiggly bead of glue down on this piece of board, connecting the two sides together. And then nice healthy amount of glue. You want to push it down and into it. And what I like to do is just, once you got that, then make it nice and flush. And you can see I'm using my hands to hold that bottom side down, making it nice and flush to the ends. This is really easy. Just bend this piece of paper back and put a bead of glue here. Ooh. So just making sure it doesn't delaminate on you. Now this is gonna be hot, so this is what I like to do is put this down, flip it over, and move it around because you don't want it to stick. Just like so. And then you want to hold it. So now, as I was saying, there's like some excess of it where it's not completely flush with the foam. You can just trim that, slowly trim that off. Just like that. Alright, so now you want to get your power pods. Now, as you can, mine are trimmed. So when yours is going to be nice and pointy up here, it's going to look like a triangle. You're going to want to make markings using a ruler. I want to make some markings on the firewall itself, and then you're going to want to chop the sides off. Basically, we're going to have to glue it just like so. Now, mine are already pre-trimmed, and it should make the job a bit easier for me. And what you want to do is to glue this down, you just need to put glue along the edges right here. Making sure the glue isn't gonna make a mess everywhere, because that would suck. And then plop it in. Now we're gonna have excess glue out, so keep a scrap piece of film in handy and just smear that off. And on the other side, just like so. So, once that's done, what I like to do is I like to reinforce the creases down here. Just putting another bead of glue over it. Just extra security, really. It's not really gonna fall off or anything. And smear that off. And just continue doing that for all 4 sides. Or 5 sides, actually. I like to strongly reinforce this by injecting a lot of glue down in there. I like to put some beads of glue down in here if you can see what I'm doing. I don't know, it's just really extra reinforcement, not really anything new. Alright, so now we're done with that. Finally, we can go ahead and get some packaging tape right here. First thing I like to do is put tape along down in here. Okay, put this down. Put it nice and around. And then this part, you don't need super long. So I think that's good enough. You can get a nice flat foam. Nice and clean. There you go. So now I got that part of it. Alright, so now for the side part. Just line it up like so. Loop it around, making sure it looks parallel still with everything. Boom. Making sure everything is flush. And then snip off the little extra bit. Like so. Now I got some extra parts. Don't worry about it, because what you want to do is just cut along this side. And that side, and dip this in, making sure it's connected to this part of it. I don't know how to describe it, but then it should look like that. And this part, fold that in if you want, fold that in. And now it looks really nice and clean. Look at that. So everything is nice and protected now, and everything's secure. Now, because we taped over all our holes, we can go ahead and cut that off. Alrighty, so now that we got this nice and taped up and got the holes out, we are going to finally mount the motors onto this. Now there's different lengths. You want to make the whole wing first, and then you want to measure it out, making sure the wire extensions are long enough. Make the wire extensions perfect, and then you're finally done. So there's also different angles on this, as you can see. This one is a bit steeper of an angle compared to this one, which I haven't glued on yet, but looks like that. So this one is steeper and this one's not as steep. The steeper one is going to be in the towards the front, and you're gonna need longer wires for that, so that's why I have this huge long wire over here. And you wanna mount it through this hole, this little hole, and just, yeah, plop it in there. Feed that in. And on Randy St. Clair's VTOL, he actually put it on the outside. I don't like how that looks, it looks kind of ugly in my opinion. But you can just, so that's why I like to tuck everything inside, but whatever you prefer to do, then go ahead and do that. I just like this because it looks a lot more cleaner compared to if you just have it outside. Alright, so now we got that. Oh, I forgot a step. First thing we need to do actually before we do that is puncture holes through the pod. Now I'm just using some tweezers. Use a knife, whatever you want to do, just to mark it. And then once you find the markings right here, the little dots, you can take your knife and make it a little bigger. And then take some tool. This is a 2.5 hex, and screw it down through just like that. Boom. Okay. You might want to make the holes a little bigger so you won't damage the tape job you did, like I just did. But it's fine because everything is going to be tucked in. Your motor screws, and use these are the ones that are provided. It looks like a nice fat screw, and it mounts like that. The darn screw gets stuck sometimes, or I mean the darn screw gets lost somewhere in there. You want to make sure that doesn't happen, and simply screw that in. Now that you got two of them in, you can fully tighten both. Alright, so that's pretty good. We got the motor nice and connected onto the pod. And yeah, you want to basically repeat that step onto this side, as well as complete the whole power pod on your other power pod, because you're going to want to make two of these using a total of 4 motors. So yeah, now we're done with that, and I'll see you guys when I finish building all the pods. Alrighty, I'm back. It's another, oh shoot. Alright, I'm back. It's another day. So let's go ahead and start building. So we are going to be changing the position of these lines on this board. So to do so, what you need is basically a ruler and a pencil. The first thing you need to do is actually flip it on the other side, on the outside. This is the outside. As you can see, there's no score lines on it. And what we need to do is make some lines right here, only on this half. You find the 13-inch mark. And then you just need one line really, and then you can take a triangle if you have one. If you don't have one, then just mark one over here. But triangles make it a lot easier, making sure everything is 90 degrees and exactly how you would like it. And then you just draw the line. Now that that's done, you want to mark 2 other markings 3/4 to its left and right. So just like that. And then use a triangle again. Now these markings are actually for
for aligning the power pods, because that's the length of the power pods, and we're just gonna glue it on those lines. So after that, you can just flip it over again, and then we're going to have to change the control horn slot and the clearance hole and the servo hole, I guess you can say. And you're gonna have to do that 7 1/8 inches outboard of the existing place. So to do that, you just find 7 and... Actually, let's start off with this one because it's a little easier. And you just find the 7 1/8. Okay, mark that hole. And then the length of, or the width. It's kind of a tedious process, but whatever. And then you can, I just X it out just to make sure you don't accidentally cut that on accident. So just do that. Now that you've done that, then you have to basically move these clearance holes and the control horn slot. Alrighty, so once we got all these holes marked up to where you want it, now we're gonna need one that's gonna be for the, so we can connect the Y harness to connect the ailerons together. So for that, you're going to have to make another hole, sort of the size as this hole right here, the servo horn slot. That's going to be 1 1/4 closer to the leading edge, and the leading edge would be this one right here. This is the leading edge because when you fold this over, that's like the front part of the wing, and 1 1/2 inboard to the previous hole. So what's going to be inboard is that direction. So I'm going to first mark up 1 1/4 closer. Just like so, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then 1/8 closer. Sorry, 1 1/2 closer. Now these measurements don't have to be exact. Okay. Then you just have to measure the hole. Remembering that doesn't have to be exact, so don't worry if it doesn't look the way you want it. Alright, so yeah, just X out the ones you don't want to cut out. So we're just going to be cutting out these two later on. Next, you want to mark a new inboard edge for the aileron that is 14 inches from the center. So to do so, you just get the 14, go from the edge, and then mark, and then go on this one, or on the other side of the aileron, and mark that, and then connect the two lines, like so, and that's going to be your inboard edge. So don't cut this side out, just cut this area. But we're also going to add 3 inches beyond the tip of the existing aileron. So just add on 3 inches here. And then once you have that, connect the dots and extend your aileron just like so. And then once that's cut out, then you're just gonna have to cut this section right here, if you can see. After that, create a new spar gap location at 14 inches. So the spar gap location will be right here in between these two lines. If this is a speedboat kit, you'll already have these two spar gap locations, and that's because those locations are where the servo is going to be placed, so you don't want the spar to be in the way. But because we're moving the servo away, we're going to need to create new lines for that. So the first one is just going to be 14 inches. This stuff is really easy to line up because there's already lines there from this, the scored lines. Line up 14. Connect it. And then line up 15 and 9/16. And now you have your spar gap locations right here. You create an additional spar gap in front of the leading edge spar gap, which is this one right here. Mark one end, mark the other end, and then take a long ruler and connect it. Oh, making sure the ruler doesn't slide because that would screw up everything. Done. So once you have that, you can basically cut out everything except for don't cut this area. Just cut out the servo horns, the new ones, the new score lines, the new aileron placement and control horn slot. And yeah, once you have that done, we can move on to the next step. Create some new spars. The airfoil is going to be a bit steeper compared to the other one to generate more lift. So we're going to need another spar to do so. And it's just going to have to be 1 1/4 by 22.5 inches. And you just use that from any scrap material. And we're just going to make a new spar. Doesn't matter what kind of, it doesn't matter if you start off from the bad edge or anything. It's just a spar, it's gonna be in the inside. So 22.5, just mark that. And what is it by? 1 1/4. So we could get this thing again and mark 1 1/4. Or because we're cutting 2, we can mark 2.5. And mark that same thing on the other side. You want to mark 2.5 and 1 1/4 because we are cutting 2, and you just need to make sure you need to know where you're gonna cut. And then take your long ruler and just connect the dots as usual. Nothing new. Making sure the ruler does not slide when you're marking the line. And then once you're done with that, mark it on the other side, just like so. All you have to do is cut them. All right, so after you get everything cut out, all you have to do really is just continue with the flight test build video to 1 hour and 46 minutes about, and that's where you're gonna have to connect the 2 wing halves with tape. But before you actually glue it together, what you're gonna want to do is put tape around it all the way until, just put packaging tape and keep just rolling it only on the outer side until you hit this line over here, the inside line of where you're supposed to put the power pods. So after that, yeah, after I do that myself, because I don't have enough space to do that on the desk, I'll show you what you have to do next. Alrighty, so I finally got my wing together, as you can see. Ooh, sorry. This is the wing, very big as you can see. And I also put tape along the side. Oh shoot, okay, don't do what I just did. And besides the tape that you normally put just down the center on the build video, I extended it to where the motor pod, right at the edge. So on this side and on this side as well. Not on this flap right here because this is the trailing edge and we're actually going to be turning this in down here. And you don't want any tape getting in the way because hot glue doesn't really attach very well. I'm going to quickly glue this together and attach the spars. And putting on the spars is quite self-explanatory, so I'm not going to show you how to do it, but I'll show you guys how it should look like in the end. But basically you have this spar right here, and then you just plop it on, and then you put on your other spars. Speaking of these spars, you're actually gonna have to do some modifications. So we got this right here, sorry. And you want to take 2 of these, your 2 spars that are 14 1/4 inch. Yep, that's 14 1/4 inch. And you want to mark, you want to cut off a section that is 7 5/16 off from one of these spars. So, and cut it right through, just like so. Now these, what you're gonna have to do is just take this out and then You put some glue down. Shows you how to do it in the build video, but that's just sort of what you have to do. And yeah, once you have those spars, then you just have to glue it down. And you have these lines right here. That's just so you know where to glue it. So the shorter side will obviously go on this end, and the long side will go, oh wait, this is the other side, the other way around, I mean. This side will go here, and the other side will go there. So yeah, just do that for the other spar, and after I get the wing connected and glued all the spars down, I'll show you guys how that will look like. Alrighty, so, ooh, got some hot glue in my eyes. I have the wing right here. This is how everything should look like. I already put glue on the airfoil so like it stays the way you want it. But this is how it should look like. You put the center one in and then connect the two longer ones and then put the two ones on the side. And now all I'm gonna do is just connect the wing like so and put the ailerons on, and then after we do that, then I'll show you guys the next step, which I think would be to connect the power pods, and then we'll have to remove this section out, this guy right over here, so there's space that we can put it on the actual plane. And then after we do that, we will be done for the building portion. So yeah, let me just finish putting the wing together, and I'll see you guys very soon. Alrighty, so I finished up the wing. As you can see, it's connected. I have the servos connected as well over here. Everything is all good. Looking pretty clean. Oh yeah, shoot, I forgot to show you guys what I did. You want to cut out just the front area, not like the whole part of it. You'll see if you have a scratch build. I mean, if you have a Speedwell kit, that'll go all the way. There's going to be some etch marks, but if you're scratch building it, just go to the first line, so it should look like that, and then you want to cut like a 40-degree angle. Sorry, you want to cut a 40-degree angle into the foam like so, and it should go in about ½ an inch. That's at least what I did. And that's so the wing will be able to be pushed back a little more into closer to the motor, so the CG will be nice and good. So next step would be to connect the motor pods. So to do so, you want to make sure that the 10-degree tilt motors are 10-degree tilted motors are on the front, and the 5-degree tilted motors are on the back. And they should be, so it should look something like that, but first you need to mark the CG point on the wing next to these markings we have over here. So that would be 2 1/4 inches back from the leading edge. So take your ruler out, find where the leading edge starts, find 2 1/4, make a little dot there, and go on the other side and find 2 1/4. And then after that, we need to mark the half point. Let's put this down. We need to mark the half point on these motor pods. Okay, so the length of this motor pod is 23 inches, so that's going to be the center point of 11.5 inches. To measure it, you just line it up and like so. Make the mark right here, and then extend it to this end right here, and replicate that on the other side. And then you can take this thing, and having the 10-degree motor pods, motor tilted motor, or motors, 10-degree tilted motors in the front, and just line up the two marks you just made like so, but you need to use glue. But before we actually do that, we need to open this thing up because our wires are in there and we need to get those wires out. Yeah, just slowly do it. The hole doesn't have to be exact, okay? You just need an access hole so you can access all the wires. Take your time with this, because again, you don't want to cut the wires, because how are you gonna solder inside a box? You don't. Just like so. Then you have your two wires length differently. Once we got that, we need to cut our hole and the wing. Because this is a really small gap, it's going to be hard to fit all the wires in, so the struggle will be real. Everything we're doing is kind of eyeballing it, which is a little sketchy, but whatever. And then you can sort of put the hole here. Okay, now we have those. Let's go ahead and feed our wires through. And to get those wires out, we're gonna pull these out with our forceps, or whatever, tweezers, pliers, whatever tool you favor most for these kind of applications. Boom. Done. Okay. So now we have that there. We're gonna tape it up, just so we don't lose the wire in the wing after we already glued it, because that would suck. Okay, this step is gonna be the hardest because there's very little space to fit all the wires in. So let's just hope it fits in. Making sure you're giving a lot of wire left, because it's going to be hard to glue it if you have very little wire at the end. And as you can see, there's a little gap right here. And all you have to do is basically put glue down here and snap it back on, aligning the holes. There will be more space on this section of the wing than the bottom section. That's perfectly fine. Just glue this portion, and I like to add glue on the back here and just reinforce it on the sides, because you don't want this thing to you don't want your power pods to fall off in the middle of a flight. So just glue that together. I don't really have enough space to show you guys, and I have a bloody nose right now, but just do that, and then I'll do the other side, or you guys should do the other side as well, and then I'll show you guys how everything looks like when we're done. So yeah. Alrighty, so this is the progress we have so far on the build. As you can see, I already connected one of the side of the ESCs, but don't you worry, I'll show you how to do the other side. So just flip it over, and because we taped these bullet connectors, everything is nice and tidy. So one thing that's important that you need to know is that you need to mark the servo cables. So this one's marked number 1 and this one's marked number 3. And the way you do it is the number 1 will be the left front motor, number 2 will be the right front motor, number 3 will be the right rear, and number 4 will be the left rear. So I'm just gonna mark this. So we know that this cable right here is going to be the front one, because it's the shorter side. So that will be that's actually the left front motor's number 1. So find number 1, servo number 1, that's marked. And basically all you have to do is plug it in, making sure you don't lose the servo cable back inside. You can take this tape off. Boom, and boom, and boom. Oops. Like that. And then take the other wires. And now you have Velcro on the bottom, so you're gonna need to get the opposite side of the Velcro and find a way to mount this. You need to check the direction of how the motors are spinning. To do that, all you need is a servo tester. Get the servo tester and a battery. Doesn't care what kind of battery, just whatever battery your ESC can handle / need. And then you plug it into servo tester, and then plug in the ESC. You'll hear that booting sequence. And the way that the way the motors spin, the top motor right here spins out like this. So it's spinning outside. It's like kind of reverse of what normal quadcopters fly, but that's how it's flown and / designed. And spin it. So you can see here, go really low. Oh, perfect! It's spinning the right direction towards the outside. So that servo is good. And then you can just unplug it and then test the other servo if that one's good. Alrighty, well, yeah, my battery, on my camera, it kind of just died, and it's also another day, by the way. But to show what I did, basically I checked the directions of the motor spinning. All of them spun in the correct direction, so you know everything spins outside instead of inside like a normal quadcopter. So this one spins that way, and this motor spins that way, like that. And then and that's really easy. All you have to do is change 2 wires of that. But other than that, what I did also was I taped the wires down. I taped these wires down right here and mounted it with Velcro. And then over here, I made this border because we have these wires that are exposed and they'll get in the way of when you're mounting it on the Explorer core or the fuselage. So what you have to do is just have like a 3/4 inch width, and then just cut these strips down and carve them to the correct shape. And then after you have that, then just put tape down to hold everything in place. And that's pretty much what we have here. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this build, really. All we have to do is connect it through the XD60 connectors to the fuselage, which I'll show you. So you just have to connect it to this guy, to this thing right here, and then pretty much we're done. Yeah, just plug everything in. You have your KK2, which I'll show you guys how to connect that and program that in the next video that will come out shortly. So yeah, we're done with the build, yay. You just have to connect everything and put on the actual wing using some rubber bands, but that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this build series videos, and yeah, hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you guys next time when we get to program it. Peace.